Daily dose movements for cycle 1. We'll start with the eagle squat. Eagle squat is a body weight squat to help you find full range squatting. And how we do that is, 1, we start with a standing neutral stack, and then 2, we hinge first. So I'm going to reach my arms and my body back. I'm moving my pelvis behind me, behind my legs, long straight spine. I'm going to come down as deep as I can, and then I'm going to drop my butt and reach my arms forward to counterbalance, and then everything comes up in one piece. So notice that there's a 2-step drop, but then when I come up, it's 1, not this and this. So not 2 steps up, 2 steps down, and then 1 step up. Breathe out as you're compressing down into your squat, and then you can breathe in as you stand up to straighten. So that's eagle squat. The next one is a 2-1-1 hinge. 2-1-1 means that we're going to do 2 one-sided and 1 two-sided movement. Easier to show than to explain. Number 1, set up for a hinge, and I would go a little bit wider than your shoulders. So think of this as where you swing from. Again, 2-1-1 means first I'm going to go 2 arms, and I'll return to this sort of racked position in between each one. So first I'm going to hinge back, and then I'm going to reach both arms overhead, bring my arms back together, and stand up. Now 1 and 1. So I'm going to hinge, and I'm going to reach just 1 crossbody to the opposite side, and what you'll be able to connect is this arm. When this arm reaches, you're going to feel the opposite leg connect, because the strength line spirals and crosses over to the other side, just like with a 1-arm swing, 1-arm clean, or snatch. Other side. So I'll hinge, and then I'll reach off to the other side, and then back. So all together, it'll be 2, 1, and 1. From the side, 2, notice that I'm keeping my spine long and strong. I'm not doing this and breaking at my back. Long, strong spine. This will make it a little bit tougher to be strong. 2, 1, long, strong spine, and 1. 2, 1, 1. And then finally, whether you are doing a crouch for your foot and ankle range of strength work, you could do a crouch and work into your crouch, rolling back and forth, switching sides, crouch, single leg crouch, or you can use a wall, or do the heel drops, so working with a straight leg instead of a bent leg, using mountain as your load position. So I'm pushing through my hands to load each foot and ankle. And the idea here is that I'm actively stretching. I should have active work all the way in the back of my lower leg here. So everything that attaches through the Achilles to the foot should be working, strengthening, and being in strength when I'm practicing those ranges. The next set will be start with a leg lift. So we're doing hanging leg lifts in session, in case you don't have a place to hang from. If you don't, get one. But if you don't, you can do these as supine leg lifts. It's a nice variant too. And we'll start with, so number 1, the supine position, and bent knees, and flexed hips. So here, I can do my leg lifts just like this. If I need extra stability, I could do 1 leg at a time. I can touch toes or heels. So if I need extra stability to hold things together here, perfectly all right to do this. Otherwise, 2 legs. Otherwise, we begin to straighten out. To make this more challenging, we keep the legs straighter. So all the while, I'm trying not to lose my hollow, my connection to the ground here. Fine to keep your head off the ground. I'm just trying to look at you as I made the video until legs get longer.
They do not need, when they're fully extended, to touch the ground. So great if you can, but they do not need to. It's very hard to hold on to that hollow and not begin to arch at the end of it. If you would like to add, whether with bent legs or straight legs, curling the body up at the top into a shoulder stand, you are welcome, of course, to add that.
There's our leg lifts, supine leg lifts. So handstand, of course, you can use a wall, if you have a wall or a box or stairs to pike up on to say hello to your handstands. If you don't have anything like that, or if you're like me and you're in a very low ceiling, you can use a straddle position to practice loading your hands for handstand. So by straddle, double wide stance, fold yourself over, put your hands on the ground, and then work on tipping your hips up into the handstand line. So all I'm doing here is just shifting forward and loading my hands. Play with where your hands are. They do not need to be right underneath your shoulders. They don't need to be pointed in a particular direction. Be a little free form with it. So from the side, so starting from a straddle, hinging, loading my hands, coming out of my toes. That's it. Strong abs, pressing away from the ground, and just working on positions of support. You can do reps like I was doing. You can do holds for time. All of those are fine. Afterwards, we'll do a little hand and wrist check-in. We're going to do a bottom-up cleans and holds in session, but you may not have a kettlebell at home. So here there's a couple options you can do. One, just working on different positions of support with your hands. So fingers point forward, fingers point out, fingers point in, and fingers point back. And you can just step through, step one hand, step the other, step through. With all of these, you can add some first knuckle raises too. So do this all by feel. The goal here is I'm trying to actively be in strength as I'm making these positions. So if I have to lean back to do this, then I'm probably not ready to do this. If I have to do that, I want to be on top of my hands to lift up. So I'm using my arm calves to bring me up. So palms down, all those positions of support. Also palms up will feel good. This will feel good after your handstands too. And you have all of those different angles of support here as well. Stepping around. And then one other variant is to do support positions on fists. So sometimes fists are used as substitutes if you want to keep your neutral, your wrist neutral, keep neutral there. But they can also do some strengthening work by gently rolling off the knuckle, in and out. Be gentle here. This might be new territory for your hands. From the side, so rolling, rolling, try one at a time, rolling out. And again, I'm keeping a strong fist, and I'm keeping tension to control that vulnerable joint right there. Can be a very strong joint, but if it isn't yet, you got to be gentle when you're working on strengthening it. Most important thing you can do is strengthen it. If it is vulnerable, if you do tend toward wristiness, you've got to put strength in the wrist. You just have to be gentle about doing it, and lots of reps. This is why Daily Dose, great example of how Daily Dose can be a real plus to your practice, because if you're just working on this maybe once a week, or if you miss a session once every 2 weeks, it probably won't be enough to really make some changes. So if you want to make some changes, whether it's wrists, whether it's feet and ankles, or any of the other movement patterns we're practicing, doing a little bit of practice on your own helps you to make those yours and not just something that you do when you come into the studio. Any questions, let us know. We'll also post ways of organizing this, so protocols for putting this together into a brief Daily Dose practice.